here, 2v2 Ashes of Typhon. Blue team is Dynamic Wayne as the Lictor Alpha. Offensive commander, can infiltrate, good at taking out high value targets. Storm of Iron alongside him as the Chaos Sorcerer. Offensive commander, fights in melee, has lots of damaging spells too. Over on the red side we have Lupercal as the Commissar Lord. Offensive commander, fights in melee, can support his troops mainly by shooting them in head. Alongside him is the entire enemy team as the Inquisitor. Offensive commander, has lots of snares. We have 3 VPs as always, one on the west, one centre, one on the east in a straight line. Lictor Alpha getting busy early on, engaging guardsmen in melee, tying them up so they can't shoot. We have double sentinels over here, both players sending their sentinels to this side. Hormagaunts moving in. Lictor Alpha very low on health, needs to get out of there. One more hit from the Commissar in retreat will take him out, and he goes down. Commissar using his shield ability, which he starts with. Double termagants on the field for Dynamic Wayne, light ranged infantry. Chaos Sorcerer is there, reviving the Lictor Alpha immediately, then retreats. Lictor Alpha needs to be careful here. Decides to retreat himself, should get those termagants out there, doesn't want to lose models unnecessarily. Good push by the red team on this side. Double Imperial Guard's going to be pretty difficult to deal with in tier 1, especially if they put up a couple of las turrets over here covering this VP and power. Quite a wide map. You have a wreck point all the way over on this side. Inquisitor working on a power node. She's getting her Holy Brazier, which will give her a power weapon to use in melee. Termagants and Hormagaunts scare her off. Double Guardsman and Sentinel for both IG players. Sentinel is a tier 1 vehicle, can decap all points but cannot cap them. Has heavy armor, so it's vulnerable to normal fire. Lictor Alpha stalking around. Should flesh hook the Commissar Lord. Seems to be idling, now he's moving in. Hormagaunts in melee with the Commissar have their adrenal glands, so they're a pretty decent melee unit for tier 1. They are forced off though. Must have been a special attack. Holy Brazier. And here goes Holy Pyre on all of these termagants. Damage over time ability, huge area of effect and lasts for a while. Termagants running back into it. Dynamic Wayne trying to micro them, but his Lictor Alpha goes down in the meantime. 420 plays 500, great start for the Imperial Guard team. Katashans on the field for Lupercal. Very versatile units, fantastic in melee. Also lots of disruption abilities like that, which missed. The Commissar Lord goes down. We have Chaos Havocs on the field from Storm of Iron. Set up team with a heavy bolter by default. Katashans forced off. These guardsmen are just out of range, repairing up this sentinel. Meanwhile, west side is turning all blue thanks to these heretics running around and capping stuff. Sentinel stomps the Havocs. We have double Havocs here. Not that often you see 2 setup teams in tier 1 from the same player, unless it's Eldar of course. Spore mines on the field for Dynamic Wayne, triple termagants opening for him. Wants to obviously take out those sentinels. Spore mines moving in, these guys will need to be very careful. They are now suppressed, they're going to lose members in retreat. Almost wiping a squad there. Very lucky to get away. 3 members with 45 hit points between them. Blue team can now finally cap this eastern VP. Middle is turning red again. Katashans on the field for both players. These are entires. Lupercals are back at base. Entire's Inquisitor now gonna take back this power node, is she? She's idling. Must be microing elsewhere. I don't think we'll see any other power spent by the Imperial Guard team in Tier 1, which is a shame because a heavy weapons squad would do great against all of these termagants. Catachans use their grenade launcher, then back off a bit, spore mines coming in, using their shotguns, which is their ranged weapon. They do take damage but do not lose a member from the spore mines. Generator does not go down. I think they took down one though. 377 plays 470, 2-0 cap for Blues. Blues go tier 2 first. You don't see that very often against Imperial Guard, though by the same token you do not see, ouch, you do not see Catachans very often for Imperial Guard. They do go tier 2 now at pretty much the same time. Sentinel decaps the west side, Guardsman can now cap it. 377 plays 435. Sorcerer needs to be careful, no war gear for him. No war gear for any commander apart from the Inquisitor. Cannot see Lupercal's war gear because he's still dead, twitching, or not quite dead. They are unconscious when they go down since they can be revived. Great use of Havocs by Storm, covering the centre and the east. Cal Space Marines for Storm of Iron, heavy ranged infantry. Termagants can now cap centre, can they? Nope. Looks like the Lictor Alpha's going to do it. Venom Brood on the way for Dynamic Wayne. Will give range synapse to all of these termagants who are going to get stomped here. No, well dodged by Wayne. Sentinel's still very annoying though. Stomp is on cooldown, not sure if Storm knows that. Heretics blow themselves up and then leave. There's Doom Bolts, fantastically done by the Chaos Sorcerer. Hit Guardsman and the Sentinel there, that's his starting ability. Holy Pyre going off on all of these termagants, taking damage over time. I'm going to start losing models soon. Retreat, only lost 1 or 2 models I think. The Venom Brood are on the field. Anti-vehicle unit for the Tyranids. Very effective at taking out vehicles, but do barely anything to infantry since they cannot hit them. And they of course provide range synapse to all of these termagants, which is the bright green glow you can see. Improving their range damage and buffing their health. Guardsmen, Catachans and Sentinel coming centre. Sentinel decaps, we have Bloodletters on the way for Storm of Iron. Might be risky with a Sentinel and Catachans around. If they get stomped and then meleeed by Catachans, they're going to die pretty quickly. This is a Spawn Mine drop by Dynamic Wayne. Excellent positioning, these Guardsmen are going to get really hurt. Chasing them in retreat. Catachans also losing members. That squad down to 100 health with 7 members, very lucky. Stormtroopers on the field for Lupercal. Very versatile unit, very cheap too, but they are vulnerable. Ogrins on the field for Entire. Very strong melee unit, very tough. Have their bonehead leader at the front there, allowing them to disrupt also. Tier 3 for Dynamic Wayne, pretty quick tier 3, only got Venom Brood in tier 2. Also Feeder Tendrils on his Lictor Alpha and the Deadly Jump, making him even more annoying and good at harassing. He's back at base now. Oh, Chains of Torment was that by the Chaos Sorcerer? It is. You barely ever see Robes of Torment used in this game, and it, as you can see, incredibly effective at shutting down a group of units. Just that his other armor is so good. The Vestments of the Warp allow him to teleport, but as you can see, Robes of Torment does have its uses. We have Havocs suppressing these Catachans, they are just hanging around. Now retreat. Triple Termagants with range synapse are pretty nasty versus infantry. Manticore on the way for Lupercal. Storm of Iron also going tier 3. We're seeing Tyranids and Chaos out-teching the Imperial Guard here. Plasma guns on these guardsmen should be targeting the Venom Brood. Bloodletters porting in should have finished off those Catachans in retreat. Instead they go for guardsmen and force a huge mass retreat here from Lupercal. Termagants can now hit this power. Center is red. Inquisitor managed to knock back the Havocs, but there's another waiting. These Ogryns should not do this. They're going to take more damage the closer they get. Havoc sets up the wrong way, must be a misclick or a bug. Unfortunate for Storm. He hits tier 3 now. Dynamic Wayne's already there, 314, plays 352. Manticore is on the field for Lupercal. Very powerful artillery unit. Huge range. Lictor Alpha is going to try and decap center with all of this stuff in retreat. Bloodletters chasing Ogryns. Ogryns would smash them 1v1, but they are down to half health there. Havocs again setting up, covering the center, also covering the east side. They have done a fantastic job for the blue team, though Reds still have the VP lead here. Carnifex on the way for Dynamic Wayne. That's pretty quick to a Carnifex. Has not lost a squad yet. In fact, I don't think any player has. Great unit preservation all round. Been quite a cautious game. No one has really pushed. Stormtroopers with melter guns, devastating to that Havoc. Metal guns are short range weapons, effective against all targets, now being chased by Hormagaunts. More spore mines coming in here. Catachans need to be very careful. Also with this huge Termagant blob, that was Dark Flames on all of those guardsmen, forcing them off. A global ability from the Chaos Sorcerer, and here's a Manticore strike. Luckily for Dynamic Wayne, he noticed it early and got the head out of there. Carnifex has no upgrade yet. Starts off as a melee creature, a monstrous creature, meaning that it has vehicle armor, but regenerates health since it's alive. Not sure where it's going. Trying to take out this Manticore it seems, but we have anti-vehicle kit, anti-armor kit, sorry, stormtroopers on it, melters, and there's a melter bomb. This Carnifex is going to go down, I think. This is crazy from Dynamic Wayne. This is a complete waste of 600 requisition and 160 power. Carnifex does go down in the center. Chaos manages to scare off the Imperial Guard again. Ogryns again in retreat, chased by Bloodletters. Bloodletters then phase out, so they do not take any damage but cannot attack. Chaos Sorcerer recaps center. That Carnifex did go down. Manticore striking something, the VP. That's going to be really annoying every time the blues try to cap. If that's on Manticore is on cooldown, it's going to try and take him out. They lost his power here. Catachans are reliable grenade launcher, disrupting this entire blob. Hormagaunts moving in. Venom Brood is pretty close to this Manticore. It looks like it's moving in. No, now being meleeed by Catachans, and they're going to go down very quickly. Synaptic, shock, knocking back all of those Termagants, and they are forced off. Lictor Alpha staying alive thanks to his feeder tendrils, but he won't last forever in there. Sentinel has missile launcher. Meanwhile, south side we have the great unclean one on the field for Storm of Iron. Super unit for Chaos, fights in melee, has lots of abilities, very tough, as you can see, over 6,000 hit points. Taking out Catachans. Ouch, that might be a dead squad. Cloud of Flies, I think that ability is called, causing damage over time to those Catachans, and they do go down in retreat. Lupercal, having spotted the Great Unclean One, is not too pleased. Also a Predator on the field for Storm of Iron. Blue team have done such a great job teching up, keeping their tech. Going for Mark of Nurgle, which you never ever saw previously, but now all tanks got a speed boost. It's actually quite a viable upgrade, boosting the HP of the Predator, as you can see, by over 500 HP. So it's a very tough tank now at level 1 with over 1200 hit points. Lictor Alpha in the mix, able to tank relatively effectively with the feeder tendrils. Only has 811 HP though at level 2, so it's not gonna tank anywhere close to as good as the tanky commanders will. Did the Manticore go down? No, Manticore's still alive, right back in base. Here comes the Great Unclean One, Melter Bombed, which will slow it down. More spawn mines called in from Dynamic. 253 plays 314, still very close. Cloud of Flies and all this stuff. Ogren's forced off. Ogren's do melee heavy damage, so they do full damage to all targets, including huge fat demons. Chaos Predator helping out. That is the Chaos Sorcerer on the floor there, unconscious, twitching away. The Inquisitor now has her Inferno pistol and goes down, not sure what she was waiting for. Maybe Judgment was on something. She also has an armor equipped, but I didn't see it before she died. Middle is blue. Heretics going over to the west side here to cap this wreck point. Should be capped if the Hormagaunts can do it, perhaps. It's all kicking off on the west though. Manticore Strike taking out loads of stuff. Ouch! And that's a rocket run, taking out Lictor and tons of Tyranids. I'm not sure which player did that. I think Lupercal. Manticore does go down to Bloodletters, who are now in retreat and stomped. So that'll help. Lictor Alpha is down. Chaos Sorcerer's back at base. The Great Unclean One back at base to heal up to. Heretics do cap the west side. 253 plays 303. This is the entire enemy team coming to the west side now in full force. Heretics need to run, Heretics need to really run, and they do. They can cap that, perhaps even bash this power if they come around, and decap this one. East side again heating up. Commissar Lord moving in, gonna try and revive this. Inquisitor has his power sword and he goes down. Inquisitor does get revived. She's in now in retreat, has her excruciators. We've lost the indicator for her, which sometimes happen when a commander goes down, but she is in retreat, as you can see. Lictor Alpha still down. 253 plays 242. Blue team have turned it around. Dynamic Wayne lost a lot of stuff though. Can't believe he lost that kind effect so sloppily. Swarm Lord now hitting the field. Super unit for the Tyranids, fights in melee, very quick, very powerful in melee. Allows Tyranids to reinforce around it and also boost their speed, so it's a pretty incredible super unit. Not the toughest at just 1700 health, but it is, I believe, vehicle armor. Hormagaunts forced off here. Swarm Lord is gonna scare all this stuff off, I assume. It all turns and runs. He has a couple of abilities. Well, it has. Taking missile shots from the Sentinel, now getting Melter Bombed, which will slow it. It's been a bit of trouble here. Down to 1000 hit points already, needs support, nothing anywhere near it. Surely Dynamic Wayne's not going to lose the Swarm Lord so easily. Has Leech Essence on, which heals it up, but as you can see it didn't heal up very much since it was only leeching off a single Stormtrooper squad. Still taking missile hits from this Sentinel, which is fast enough to dodge it. Center Ogren's forced off by a tank, and the Great Unclean One still blue. West side being capped by the Chaos Sorcerer. All these Tyranids got stomped. 253 plays 216. Lupercal is tier 3. Entire enemy team is going tier 3. Lupercal floating ridiculous amounts of resources. Obviously going for a Baneblade, which he'll be able to get very soon, or start getting. Autocannon on this Havoc squad, that's the Mark of Khorne, doing good damage to all units and has a small area of effects, but no longer suppresses like the Heavy Bolter. Was buffed a few patches ago, 3 or 4 patches ago, and you see it used a lot more often now. Infiltrated stormtroopers can decap without being detected, but as soon as they start capping, the Great Unclean One can see them. We have double stormtroopers with anti-vehicle kits. Dark Flames should finish it off in retreat. The tank does in a way. Dark Flames needed to be used a bit further up there. 253 plays 130. Baneblade is on the way for Lupercal, but he's lost a lot of stuff. 2-0 cap for blue. Center is uncapped thanks to those stormtroopers. Bloodletter's coming to cap it now. They are now level 2. Very strong melee unit. Can teleport, of course. Quite vulnerable though, if isolated. Engagement on this east side. Autocannon doing a great job against those guardsmen with the help of these Tyranids. Here is another rocket run. Ouch. That must have been entire enemy team. Might wipe these Venom Brood, and it does. Termagant's now without range synapse. Inferno Pistol doing a decent job on the Swarmlord. He pops Leech Essence to heal up. Here comes the Baneblade though from Lupercal. He's losing units left and right. All kicking off also in the centre. Bloodletters trying to take out some guardsmen. Baneblade with its 2 las cannons and main battle cannon and heavy bolters and probably some other stuff is pretty dangerous to everything. Slow moving Imperial Guard super unit, vulnerable to strong melee since its weapons have a minimum range. Stronger than Hormagaunt, so I'm afraid. The Carnifex will do it, but it doesn't matter because I haven't even noticed that the VPs have counted down. Reds just lost too much stuff in tier 2 onwards, I think, especially Lupercal. Dynamic Wayne losing that Carnifex so easily, but managed to hold on. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you next time.